Hello and welcome to Starside Chat, the podcast, the weekly podcast for Starside Cafe, the YouTube channel. I'm one of the hosts, Zach Owens, and joining me is Aaron Capo.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going well. How about you?
Pretty good. What have you been up to lately?
Zach, I had a rough time at Walmart earlier today.
Uh-oh. Why?
So, over the weekend, I found these really good frozen Indian food things at a Walmart in another town, and I was like, oh, I'll get some of these for my apartment. So I went to the Walmart in where we live, and where would you think that a frozen Indian thing would be in the frozen section?
In one of those, like, refrigerator thingies?
Well, so there are 3 aisles of those refrigerator things. And I was looking up at the cards that say, like, what's on the aisles. And I was like, and the first one I saw was dinners. And I was like, okay, it's probably in dinners. And it was not. And then I was like, okay, what does this other aisle say? And it says entrees. And I was like, oh, it's an entree. It'll be there. And it was not. And then the third aisle had frozen meals.
Was it there?
No. But my point is that all 3 of those things are the same thing.
Yeah. That's true. I never shop at Walmart. I think that was your first mistake, was going to Walmart.
I don't know. They have these like, oh man, what are they called? They're called like Bombay or like Enjoy Bombay or something. And I've had a lot of different kinds of frozen butter chicken. And I have to say, that brand like knocked it out of the park. It was really good. It does a thing where it's like all the meat is separated and there's all the rice. And the rice is just like formulated to cook really, really well. I really want to get another one of them because they had a tikka masala that I bet is really good, but I guess I have to wait until I'm out of town again.
I would almost bet you could find those or something very similar to that at Hy-Vee.
Hy-Vee doesn't have that brand.
Really?
Yeah.
Even in like the it's like the health food area?
No, I don't think so. I mean, also, like, I don't know, Walmart, Target, and Hy-Vee all have different brands of frozen things.
Yeah, well, they also, like, they want to push their own brands, basically, but...
Oh, that's a good point. I guess the Bombay might be like a Walmart brand.
Yeah, it might be some sort of Walmart thing that they have, like, made up some name for. I don't know what all their brands are, but whatever.
What about you?
Nothing so exciting. I mean, that is very exciting going to Walmart for frozen Indian food, but I helped my brother move over the weekend.
Ooh, from where to where?
From here to Burlington.
Oh, they have that factory in Burlington, right?
Yeah, this is the joke you make every time. I even told him that you make this joke every time. So if he listens to this episode, he will know that I was not lying about it. Yes, the coat factory place.
Yes.
Obviously. Anyway, let's move into the news of the week.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, so tell me about these rumors about Xbox and local and cloud variants.
So Microsoft has their Azure servers, and they briefly talked about at their E3 press conference, like, you know, we're gonna harness our cloud services, and like Scarlet is on the horizon. Now the rumor is that in 2020 they're going to put out 2 different systems. They're going to put out an entirely local system with all the chips and graphics on board, and they're also going to put out a cloud system which is stripped down. But when asked about like, well, that's not going to work for FPS games or because like latency is going to be so crazy, they have said that the cloud version is not going to be wholly cloud. It's going to have some stuff. It's going to have some local computation. Like it'll have like some rudimentary physics and like input stuff. But the majority, it's going to be like a split. They called it like slices.
Yeah, splicing or whatever, where they like, you have like some of the local information and the cloud information, and then they stitch it together.
Exactly. So it can be a less powerful box and like less expensive, namely. But it can also do the same games. I would be very interested to see like if they are like, oh yeah, if you're really serious, you got to get the more expensive one. Or like I would want to see like an FPS, like the next Halo, I assume will be on both of these, like local one versus cloud one, like console versus console, and see like competing if the latency really does matter at like a pro level.
Well, and that makes me wonder if some of it is even kind of going to be akin to like the Xbox One X versus the Xbox One, the standard one, where like it can run the same games, but there's a graphical enhancement if you have the more expensive, more powerful version.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you could trade in the graphics for like super low latency, I don't know. It remains to be seen. Like, because playing an RPG or like playing single player stuff, you might not notice like a however many milliseconds of lag, but definitely like playing like PUBG or something, it's going to be super noticeable if you're like pinging like crazy or whatever. But I don't know, it's interesting. I wonder if we'll see Sony follow suit. They don't really have the cloud computing infrastructure that Microsoft does.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be the way things are headed, where there's going to be some sort of like game streaming going on. And if this is like some sort of hybrid streaming thing, because we talked about this before about how we don't think like the infrastructure is there for like entirely streaming to work very well. So, I mean, if they've come up with some sort of half and half thing that works pretty well, maybe Sony's trying to develop that as well. I mean, I don't know for sure, but if it is the case where between like the lesser powerful like streaming device and the like more expensive or more powerful like home console, which would you choose?
Well, let me throw this at you. What if when you buy the streaming device, you have to subscribe to some kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess that would be one way to maybe make up cost if there's like a big cost difference between the two. Like if the streaming box is significantly less expensive, but then you like sort of sign up for this subscription service and that's how they make up the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that happening. It's kind of like how Google and Amazon, old Google, not necessarily more recent Google, but the way they would like sell devices for super cheap because they were going to make all their money on like services once they got those products in somebody's hand. I can see them going towards something like that because it also makes it so that if all the games are online, like they have that service right now. What is it? The Game Pass thing that's like $10 a month.
It's
so like
their new thing.
Yeah, so if it's like kind of tied into that sort of a service, they don't have to worry about people like the buy sell trade market right now.
Exactly.
That's kind of hurting them a little bit. I don't know how much, but they can basically end that going forward.
That was their dream. That terrible E3 where they released the Xbox One, where they were like, oh, this is a great idea. And then everyone was like, no, it's not a good idea. And they had to reverse all of their stuff. And now I guess they're doing it in a different way. And I don't know if it'll upset people again. But this could like lead the way for Sony still being like, hey, if you want to trade in games, like here's how you do it. And like doing some cheeky stuff like that.
Yeah. I can see them go in that direction. So what else did we have? What was the next thing?
Zach, I love Dungeons & Dragons. I've only played a couple times because I've never been able to get a regular game going. But I have some of the new 5th edition stuff. Like I have the Dungeon Manual, and I have the, what is it called? I have that crazy one that's like supposedly written by a beholder that has a bunch of cool lore in it and some new classes. But the newest source book, it's being revealed, is going to be a crossover with Magic the Gathering, which is also a Wizards of the Coast property, and they've never crossed over before. But the new source book for D&D 5th edition is going to take place in Ravnica, if that's how you say it, and that's like the world of Magic the Gathering. So it's going to be a big crossover, and people are really excited about it.
Yeah, these are two things that I basically know next to nothing about. I'm aware that they're like a big deal, but I have no firsthand experience with either of them.
An interesting thing about Dungeons and Dragons that I could not wrap my head around when I first started getting into it was like, there isn't really a setting, or there's not really a base setting, sort of. Like, there was the Forgotten Realms, and that was like a super important one, and Eberron was another super important one. But basically, to flesh out the lore of these worlds, aside from like the deities and whatnot, to get like a bunch of like ideas for campaigns and to have a base setting, they put out these like Legends of the Sword Coast, things like that, like basically lores of cities and wars and intrigue, and these source books are really, really cool, and they, for dungeon masters, are great for ideas. Like there's lists of items and things, and Ravnica, I guess, is what the land is called. But I'm very interested to see like if there's going to be new interesting mechanics having to do with cards. Probably not, but I want to see like the new classes and stuff. I'm very like inexperienced and unknowledgeable about Magic the Gathering, so I might pick this up because I think it would be a cool read, even if I don't get to run a campaign.
Now, this might be a dumb question, but is Magic the Gathering more than or something other than a card game?
Well,
because I'm only aware of the card game.
It's definitely a card game, and they're making a Hearthstone-style PC game of it. But yeah, it is pretty much just a collectible battling card game, as far as I know. But the rules are complex. We have a friend named Dan who is very well versed in it, and he is a pro elite player. And he tried to explain it to me a couple of times. So I know I have like a vague knowledge of like some of the strategies you would use and certain things. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know a lot about Magic the Gathering, except that like it's there's a lot of cards, and you gotta build those decks.
Yeah, when I look at any of that stuff, I'm always like way in over my head, and it scares me a little bit. So we should talk to Dan at some point and get him to explain some of this stuff for us, because like I'd be into checking it out. I just don't know where to start is the thing, and I never have, like, because I haven't known anyone, I guess, other than Dan, but I didn't know this about Dan, that were like into Magic the Gathering. Mm-hmm. I just know I when I graduated college, I worked at this buy-sell trade store for a while, and they would always get in like a handful of like new Magic the Gathering cards, and they would sell out almost immediately. So I was very aware that it was like this huge deal, but I had no idea about it. So but yeah, I would be interested in finding out more about this.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to pick up the source book. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a thing to review Dungeons and Dragons source books on YouTube, but maybe we could do a little review of the, I forget what it's called. I think it's called Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. I'm probably saying that wrong.
It's a thing on YouTube to review anything, so
that's true.
We can definitely do it. We just maybe have somebody who is more of an expert like Dan join us for that. Yeah, for sure. Sort of
I think that might be a good idea. Maybe we'll get him on the podcast.
We could do like a blind spotting of Magic the Gathering in general.
I still say we should do a little mini, I mean, not to encroach upon the Adventure Zone, but I feel like we should do a little mini D&D podcast game within this podcast. I think it would be fun.
I have always been down for that, but we cannot seem to get other people, like just timing wise, to get them all together in the same place to be able to do that sort of a thing. So maybe we'll work something out, but I've been telling you for years that I wanted to do that. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so we're gonna do the Destiny minute. Is that what this is? You've put this in the show notes as "Let's talk about Destiny again."
Yes, this is my new segment. Let's talk about Destiny again.
All right. Yeah, so this is gonna be a regular thing, huh?
Probably. So were you aware of what was going on this weekend?
I heard some things. I'm still a little bit out on Destiny right now, but I keep waiting for something to, and maybe it'll just be eventually getting my hands on the game to force me back into it. But because I've heard that everybody who's like checked out the new stuff that they had at E3 was super into it. But no, I've not been following super closely with the most recent updates. I am aware that there was a new gun that was found, but that's about it.
So over the weekend, people started seeing this new public event on IO that was in, I believe, the Oasis area, and it had a named taken enemy. And when you killed this named taken enemy, this portal opened up. And you were dropped into this completely new zone, and you had 20 minutes to complete this crazy quest. Very similar to, remember when people found, I think it was originally called the Black Hammer, or the Black Spindle.
Yeah, Black Spindle.
In Destiny 1, where like you would run that strike, and then somebody figured out that if you went another way during the strike, it would start this new event. Well, that happened here, but it was completely, like, the first, 5 to 8 minutes of this event are a crazy jumping puzzle with apparently some very cool music playing, and it's very hard. And then it's just really, really difficult rooms of enemies, and you gotta get those rooms. And then you beat it, and it's very, very high level. It's like top tier, very, very difficult, and you only have 20 minutes to get through it, and you have to do that whole jumping puzzle before. And if you beat it, you get the Whisper of the Worm, which is maybe the best weapon in the game now that they've added it to the game. It is a sniper rifle that has that old perk, the pre-nerf perk of Black Spindle, where if you hit 3 consecutive crits, it refills your magazine, not from your reserves. So it's basically infinite ammo and really high damage constantly. And it's great. People love it. And once you beat that, there's a heroic one that starts, and that allows you to get the catalyst. I have not been playing a lot, so I don't really understand what catalysts are. But in addition to that, people were finding these crazy puzzles. There's a crazy puzzle that has to do with oracles, and it turns out it's a callback from Vault of Glass, and people were trying to figure it out. It's like it's that Outbreak Prime stuff, man. It's that good old Outbreak Prime stuff where people are trying to figure stuff out in real time. And they figured it out, and they got this crazy blueprint for, they think, a ship, and it's going to take a couple weeks to get all the materials or whatever. But it was pretty cool. The general consensus is that it was a really cool event, and I don't know, it was fun to watch in real time.
Now, is this them adding this weapon that has that perk on it? Is this them conceding that, all right, we used to have this stuff in there, and we thought it was breaking the game, but people loved it, and we took it away, and now people don't like the game, so maybe we should start adding some of this stuff back in and be like, okay, you guys can have this stuff now?
I think it is a little bit, they realized, they're very obsessed with balancing, and I think they realized that the most fun people had in Destiny 1 was when a crazy game-breaking thing would be found, like Loot Cave, for instance, was a classic Destiny 1 thing that everybody loved. Or I didn't get in on this, but I think there was a thing where Prometheus Lens was super broken for a while.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they were just have at it. So I think a problem with Destiny 2 has always been you don't feel powerful. Your super and all of your abilities take too long to charge. All your gear feels uninteresting and underpowered. And this could be the turning point where they're just you know what? Here's a crazy thing. It's hard to get. It's the hardest thing in the game to get currently. But if you get it, it's like the Mythoclast, man. It's like the Vex Mythoclast before its nerf, where it was very hard to get, but once you had it, if you were in Crucible and you heard that sound, you knew you were about to die, because the Mythoclast was so crazy.
Now, this is the other thing that bothers me about Destiny, is that on the one hand, I understand that this is cool for a lot of people, and following the story of it and seeing it play out on Twitch and YouTube, and seeing these people figure this stuff out and go through everything it takes to get all the crazy, powerful, hidden stuff is super cool for that select group of people that are going to be able to do it. But for me, I know this is never going to happen. So I'm just okay, I mean, that's cool. That's just one more thing I'm not going to have in this game. And it's going to make it so that somebody else who like has the time and the number of friends to pull all this stuff off. Like what was the one that they added during Rise of Iron that like Dado did that video to explain how to do it, and it was just so ridiculous that I was like, there's just no way I would, one, have the time to do this, but two, have the number of people who also had the time to do it just like at the ready to actually pull this thing off. So I knew right then and there that I was never going to get that gun. And that is kind of a bummer, honestly. Like, on the one hand, I get that you need to have that stuff because that's what drove Destiny 1 for so long. And it's them trying to say, well, we need to do less of that stuff because so many people can't achieve that. That kind of brought Destiny 2 down. But at the same time, I'm a little bummed by all the like craziest stuff that they add to the game that everyone gets excited about that I'm just never going to experience.
It's sort of like Ready Player One in a way. You have this online world and everyone is trying to like figure out secrets. Like, you're right that it's very fun to watch on Twitch. Like, I watched the guy, I believe his name is T-Rex. I watched him like figure out the Oracle puzzle, and when a chest spawned after he got it right, like everybody flipped out. And that's a really cool thing to see. I mean, I agree that it would be very difficult for us to get it, but I don't know. I love these little emergent treasure hunts that happen where people are like, what is going on? I think a problem with there was a very famous subreddit, not very famous, but it's called Raid Secrets. And in Destiny 1, there were all these things where they were like, man, where are the secret chests? Like, what are the crazy secret things in Vault of Glass? Like, what's going on here? What is this? And like a community gathered together and they were trying to figure stuff out. There was like the mystical like secret final chest that nobody could find in Vault of Glass. And I feel like that subreddit has been pretty, I mean, I guess I don't know because I don't really frequent it, but I feel like there's not a ton of stuff in Destiny 2 where people need to figure stuff out. They've put everything on the director. Like, you don't need to watch videos by like Dado to find stuff out, which is a bummer. Like, I want things to be like inscrutable and to figure stuff out. Like Into the Gungeon, which we're going to talk about later, has a bunch of really interesting mechanics where you go into a room and there's just like an altar and you're like, what do I do with this? And you sort of have to figure out organically. And there's not a ton of organic stuff in Destiny 2. It's sort of just like, go here, complete all these weekly things. And I like, I don't know, I like a Black Spindle, kind of, I like an Outbreak Prime sort of secret thing.
Yeah, and I think most of the community does too. And like I said, that's what drove a lot of the interest in Destiny 1. And it has been very absent in Destiny 2, and that's been one of the big downfalls for Destiny 2. But I'm just speaking personally, like it's fine to watch some of that stuff and think, oh, that's cool. Like, they figured this crazy puzzle thing out that I never would have figured out. And they got this cool thing that I'm never going to get. But then it starts to sink in that I'm not going to experience, like, a good portion of this game. And I just, like, at some point I stop caring. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I'm still interested to see what Forsaken comes out. I mean, there's going to be some live streams where Bungie's going to go over some like mods 2.0 and things like that leading up to, but we're about a month and change away from Forsaken coming out. So I'll be very interested to see. I still don't know if I'm going to pre-order it, but I'm interested to watch some reviews, and I think I probably will end up picking it up if people don't like hate it immediately. So
I think it's definitely trending towards a thing that people are going to like. And these little things popping up, like these news stories of people finding these like hidden things now, is definitely a step in the right direction. And it's a sign of things to come, I'm going to guess. So I do think like the people that wanted, I guess, Destiny 1 back in Destiny 2, or the feeling that came along with a lot of the stuff in Destiny 1, I do think they're starting to add that back in, and so that'll be very good for those people. I just don't know how much like I can get up for it again after all this time. Because like I said, I tried jumping back in like a week or two ago to like see what was new, and I couldn't get to it without like grinding through all the boring stuff that I didn't like. I left the game to begin with, and so I was just like, whatever. It may be too late.
Well, should we move on to our feature?
Yes. So Comic-Con happened.
It did.
That's the thing that happened, and a lot of trailers came out during Comic-Con, as they do. So let's talk about the first one, Aquaman.
Aquaman. What did you think about this?
It's definitely more bright and seems to have more like personality to it than past DC movies, I would say. Like the CG, like it's hard to say without having seen the whole thing, but from the trailer, it looks like they've gotten better at doing some of the CG stuff than the Justice League movie, which was awful. So maybe they're getting better tech-wise as well. This is also director James Wan.
Oh, I like him.
Yeah, because he's the Fast and Furious guy, right?
Yeah, he also did Star Trek.
Yeah, which one was that again? I forget the name of it.
Number 3.
Number 3. Star Trek number 3 is the one he did. Are you sure?
He either did 2 or 3. J.J. Abrams did 1.
He did, and yeah, I think J.J. Abrams did 1 and 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's no way to know.
It's impossible to know at this point.
But anyway, yeah, James Wan is great. I think it is because I think he did do 3 because 3 is the one with the motorcycle, and people were like, the Fast and Furious guys putting motorcycles in Star Trek.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, I what's your interest level in this?
Not super. I mean, so I never saw Suicide Squad or Justice League or Batman vs. Superman because I hated Man of Steel and it's all just garbage to me. But I saw Wonder Woman and it was fine. It was good, I guess. It was good. I didn't like the very end of it.
Yeah,
but everything
that's kind of where I was at.
Exactly. Everything before the end was great, and I like a fish out of water kind of a superhero. Chris Pine was good in it, but I don't know. I like that. The guy who plays Aquaman. You probably know him from Game of Thrones.
Yep.
But I know him from Stargate Atlantis, where he played Ronan, and he was really cool on that show. I think he's a cool guy in general. So I'm pro him having a great time, and like I'm pro him having success. So I mean, I don't know. I hope this does well. It seems like DC is kind of just throwing stuff at the wall. So it could very well be that if this does well, we'll just get some more Aquaman stuff, and we don't have to deal with him talking to Superman and Batman.
Yeah, I don't know. I like watching this. Like I have seen the DC movies, and most of them are awful, and that's why it kind of makes me less excited for this movie than maybe I would have been otherwise. But it seems real weird, and I don't know how into it I am. Like I'll probably see it eventually, but this is not like I watched that trailer and I wasn't like, oh, I have to go see this. Yeah, I like Jason Momoa. Dolph Lundgren's in it. Nicole Kidman and Willem Dafoe are also in it. Like, there's a bunch of people in it, I guess, that are recognizable. And, of course, James Wan directed it. So, I don't know. I think DC's trying to change their image a little bit because I think it's been rough for them trying to follow up Marvel stuff. That
sort of segues into the next trailer.
Yeah, so Shazam, which is another DC movie. This one was really weird to me. I don't know how you felt about it.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I didn't either. I'm not sure Zachary Levi was the right guy to cast for this. Like, I guess he's sort of a comedic actor, but I don't know. I don't know if I like casting him for this movie.
I wanted like a super, like this is a great, similar to Jumanji, when The Rock had to play against type as a boy. This is another great, what's the word I'm thinking of? Chance, I guess, is an easy word. This is another great opportunity is the word I was looking for. This is another great opportunity for someone who's been typecast as like a tough, rough and tumble guy to go against type and be a kid. And I feel like they squandered that with Zachary Levi, who I could not care less about, and is already just kind of a nerd. Like, you don't want to become a superhero and become Zachary Levi, who is like typecast as just like basically a Jim Halpert.
Yeah, exactly. You don't like dream of being Zachary Levi in a very obvious like muscle suit. Like you would dream of being someone like The Rock because he actually is like this cool tough guy.
I'm also not really into like him becoming a completely different person when he hulks out or whatever, for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't like that. He's not like, you basically get rid of the child character, whatever. I don't know. Like something about that rubs me wrong. I don't want CGI, but
I mean, it's like big, right? But
there's like zero chance anyone's going to figure out, like his mask is never going to fall off or whatever. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I laughed at one point during the trailer, so I guess I can't say I didn't laugh at it, but I don't know. I'm not into it. I didn't think it was that interesting. I thought it looked kind of dumb. But I think this and Aquaman is DC trying to go for that lighthearted comedic tone where the colors are much brighter. It's not this like grim, dark, dour visual aspect as well. So they're trying to change it up. I don't necessarily love the what they're doing. Maybe they're overcompensating. I don't know. So one pro about this is I'm pretty sure Shazam is associated with Black Adam. Am I right about that, or do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I'm not real clear on the DC lore and the comics. So
Black Adam is an anti-hero / villain, but mainly an anti-hero, and he's supposedly going to be played by The Rock, which I'm pro. Like, The Rock has never been like in a superhero movie. He's not in the DC or the Marvel universe yet. So I guess this gets us a step closer to Black Adam, which I'm interested in. I don't know anything about, but I love anything The Rock is in.
Yeah, but when you see that movie, if it is like Shazam versus Black Adam, I don't know how it works. That may not be the case. But if it is, do you see Zachary Levi up against The Rock?
The Rock would win. Like, that's what's crazy. It's like Zachary Levi...
You would want him to win.
Yeah.
Because who roots for Zachary Levi?
Yeah.
Anyway, this is maybe not for us because we're not super into the DC movies. And I'm not anti-DC. That's like the thing I think people are gonna say once they hear us and how much we're like talking down about DC and their movies. Growing up, if anything, when it comes to like movies and games and stuff, I was more into the DC characters than I was the Marvel characters, or I at least was more aware of them. But yeah, when this movies thing, like the cinematic universes that they've built for themselves, it's the exact opposite. So,
well, speaking of the exact opposite, let's move on to something that I think we're both excited for.
Yeah, so Godzilla, King of Monsters.
What a trailer. Zach, do you remember the original trailer for Godzilla with that crazy like drop from an airplane and they all had that like red smoke trailing behind them?
Yeah.
Godzilla makes great trailers.
Their trailers are the best, yeah, for sure.
The trailers are great. Anything will look cool if you put Claire de Lune behind it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I shared on social media this trailer, and I was like, whoever thought to put or pair Claire de Lune to this trailer like deserves an award of some sort.
Genius. It's so good. Like everything about it, they just nailed it. Like, there's not a lot of storytelling in it. You're kind of aware what's going on. It's perfectly synced to the music. There's that beautiful shot of, I assume, Mothra spreading its wings when the music crests. Like, it's got Eleven from Stranger Things, who is a very hot commodity right now. She's in a bunch of stuff. And it's got Watanabe is back, and it
has a bunch of people. I was surprised how many familiar faces I saw. Yeah, like Eleven's in it. Do you think maybe her powers carry over and she can somehow commune with like the monsters?
It does seem like she's connected to them, or like she's definitely pro Godzilla. Like there's that shot where Godzilla. I assume you don't see the reverse, but I assume Godzilla's walking up and she's like smiling in the rain. So like maybe she has some sort of connection, or I mean, in Godzilla movies, there's always like people on the ground who are like pro Godzilla. So she's our window in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like her dad is Kyle Chandler.
You think so? Oh yeah. I thought that as well.
Because she's like holding a picture of a family photo at one point, I think.
But we don't know what like where Kyle Chandler's character fits into all of this, because it seems like they're, other than Ken Watanabe, they're leaving everybody else behind from the first movie. Yeah,
there's a part where in the trailer where she, under her breath, is like, "You're a monster," and I cannot tell. I feel like she's either talking to the blonde lady or Kyle Chandler, but I don't know who is going to be the actual bad person.
I think the next cut is Vera Farmiga's character.
But who's to say? It seems like she is pro monsters, but she could also be like, I mean, I guess it's not good to be pro monsters, but I don't know.
I guess Sally Hawkins is also back in this movie. She was in the first one as well. But yeah, Thomas Middleditch is in this.
Yeah.
How awesome is that? I don't know what character he's going to play, but I like Thomas Middleditch. He works at Monarch. Yeah, probably. Charles Dance, the guy from Game of Thrones, he played Tywin Lannister. He's in this movie, and he says something that's very like Tywin Lannister, but it's going to be hard to separate him now, but he's in this movie. Yeah, Kyle Chandler, you mentioned him. Yeah, a bunch of people. So, this was one of the best trailers I've seen in a while.
The biggest twist, it's not coming out until like May 2019.
Were you expecting it this year?
I don't know. I mean, it's we're almost getting it a year, getting the trailer a year in advance.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Maybe it's just like really far months. In advance, and it's not like a teaser either. This is like a full on trailer.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It is crazy, but I don't know. It looks super cool. I like the first one. I think a lot of people didn't like because there's like maybe 8 minutes worth of like Godzilla in the movie.
Am I remembering correctly that we saw it together?
Did we see it together?
Didn't we go to the movie theater and we bought regular tickets, and they were like, for some reason they were like, "Oh, just take these 3D tickets," and we saw it in 3D?
You might be right. It's been a while. I don't recall, but
because I remember thinking like it's the perfect movie to watch in 3D because they play so much with like foreground stuff, because like Godzilla is so giant and you so rarely get to see.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that he's so big, they do a lot of, like, tilt shifting and whatnot. And so it's a great movie with perspective to watch in 3D.
Yeah, I think, so the first movie, they tried to really make it about, like, the human characters, and you're seeing everything from their perspective, which I thought was a good idea. That's a better way to go about doing a Godzilla movie, because it's going to be hard to like follow Godzilla's perspective. So like it's always about like maintaining the perspective of like the people in the world. Mm-hmm. But the thing is their human characters just weren't that interesting or likable. I don't know. I didn't care about like, I don't know. I don't remember the actor's name. He was in one of the Marvel movies as
so it was crazy because he was Quicksilver, and he was dating Scarlet Witch, and then they were both in... they were both in Godzilla and the Marvel movie. Yeah, they were a relationship in one and like siblings in the other.
Yeah, which was kind of weird, but yeah, I just don't think that actor was quite good enough to carry that, but also they didn't quite give him enough either. So I don't know. But having said that, this new movie, you got Millie Bobby Brown, you got all these new faces joining it, and if they can pull it off, if anyone can pull what they were trying to do with the first one off, it's this set of actors. I feel like they can do it.
I agree.
So yeah, I'm very excited about this. You're also very excited about this. It's a cinematic universe that they're doing. So this is the second of the Godzilla movies, which we have to assume there's going to be a third. And at some point, there's going to be this crossover that's like Godzilla versus King Kong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what year that's supposed to come out. I think they kind of outlined it at one point, but I don't recall off the top of my head when that's supposed to happen. But I don't know. I didn't love the King Kong movie. It was all right.
Oh, really? I really liked it.
It was all right. I just didn't love it that much.
The cinematography was great, and all the music was really cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were obviously going for this like Apocalypse Now vibe.
Yeah.
So they were basically like going for the style of like those old Vietnam era war films, which, you know, is cool and all, other than like it could have existed in any time. So I was kind of curious what the significance of them choosing that time period was, and I cannot come up with a reason. But anyway, that's Godzilla King of Monsters. What was it, May of next year?
Yes.
Very exciting. Moving on, there is a DC hero TV show called Titans?
Yes, this is a Teen Titans live action show. It's very dark and gritty, and it's making the rounds because in the trailer, the first part of the trailer is like, this trailer is rated MA. And then it plays, and that's because at one point Robin was very disillusioned, and I guess a cop, he says, someone is like, where's Batman? And he's like, F Batman, but he doesn't say F, he says a bad word.
He drops the bomb.
He drops the F bomb, and he's like, I don't care about Batman, F Batman. And people are like, whoa.
What station is this on?
Zach, you'll be glad to know it's on a brand new subscription streaming service.
Ah, yeah, goody. I was hoping that you would say those exact words.
That's right. Get ready for whatever this thing is called. I don't remember.
Well, if there's anything else that we need, it is another streaming service to subscribe to.
What did you think of this trailer?
It looked dumb to me. Like, I know, like, people are into the, like, Teen Titans or whatever, like, the cartoon show.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be honest, the, like, now this is going to clash with another similar show that we have to talk about later, but, like, the whole teens and, like, superpowers, like, teen superheroes, and there being, like, some sort of school situation almost, or, like, I don't know, that whole thing. I feel like it's kind of played out. Like, how many... Well, I feel like there's a number of TV shows that are about this type of thing, and there's, like, been movies about it, and I can't be bothered.
Zach, are you watching My Hero Academia?
Nope.
It is very good.
You've told me about that, and I keep meaning to watch it, but I have let my Crunchyroll subscription go, so...
Oh, no. It's so solid. Like, I watched the latest episode today, and it's just like, oh my god, it's so good. And it's so interesting. Like, all the character designs, like, they just did a thing where, because it's an anime, there's a new tournament they have to do. A bracketed style tournament. Tournament is what I say. I say tournament. Right. But, so they just, like, they're their own school of superheroes, and they've just come into contact with 2 other schools of superheroes. So we just got a ton of more people, and they're all interestingly designed and have interesting superpowers. But yeah, My Hero Academia is perhaps the best iteration of what you're talking about that's happening right now.
Well, like, so in movies, there's been, like, the X-Men series. There's been TV shows like
One Punch Man.
We're not talking anime. We're talking, like...
I'm talking superhero culture.
You're talking...
Like a world of superheroes.
Okay, but you keep mentioning animes, which I'm fine with. But, like, the TV shows, like the... what's that TV station? WB? Like, think those types of shows that are, like, here's another sort of X-Men, like, live-action, like, teen hero show. I feel like there's been a bunch of them, and this looks like just another one of those, and I'm not into it.
Well, Arrow has been... I think Arrow was what they realized was like, oh, we can do this for super cheap, and it's going to be super popular, because Arrow is basically Batman.
Yeah, but that's...
mixed with, like, County Monte Cristo.
But that's, like, less, like, teen-based. Like, I don't... Like, maybe he is a teen. I don't know. I haven't seen all of that show.
I would say he's a young adult. He's, like, in his 20s, I think.
Yeah, but he's not, like, in high school.
No.
Yeah, and so, like, I can't confirm, but it definitely seems like the vibe I got from this Titan TV show is that they were, like, teens.
It seems to me like Robin is like a cop.
He might be. I don't know.
Although, I will say, when I was out on the 4th of July, the police department had these kids that they had enlisted called police explorers, and they gave them all radios, and they had them wandering around, kind of just looking at stuff. So it could be that Robin is some sort of teen explorer police officer.
Do you think that these teens you saw had superpowers?
TBD. So another crazy thing is that he, right before he says F Batman, he kills like 6 people. He like shoots them with a gun and like stomps on a guy's neck.
Yeah, I mean, that's more of like the DC Cinematic Universe style of Batman, who's like essentially killing, like murdering all the bad guys. I don't know. Are you into this? Because you sound like you're into it.
Not really. I don't know. I like...
You put up a big fight for this, in case, for the case of this show, for not being into it.
I liked Teen Titans, the cartoon show back in the day. And so I'm interested to see... Like, I'm very interested to see what they do with, like, Beast Boy and how they get him to transform, if that's going to look cool or not.
Let me ask you this. Would you watch that Gotham show?
I haven't yet. I don't know. I want there to be Batman. Like, there's no Batman.
Yeah.
He's a kid.
So that was the point I was going to make. Like, so this is going to be Gotham, but if they were all teens and there's still no Batman.
Here's this, though. If Gotham did a thing where they time jumped like 5 years and all of a sudden it was like first years of Batman and he was being Batman, that would maybe make me go back and watch the whole series so I can catch up to that part.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. If they brought Batman into it, I can see that. But, like, for sure, this Titans TV show is not going to do that.
I mean, eventually I feel like Batman is going to come into it because we're going to have to figure out, like, why Robin hates him so much, And that's going to be a very interesting portrayal of Batman.
Well, it could be just, like, brief flashbacks. Like, he might not necessarily be a significant character on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm interested to see. I guess we'll see. But speaking of superhero fatigue, that I assume means you're not into the next trailer?
Now, this is why I said it's going to conflict with my views on the next 2 things we have to talk about, because I'm actually into these next 2 things. The next one is Glass, which is M. Night Shyamalan's return to the world of Unbreakable, starring Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know. What do you think of this? Because I have not seen Split, I should say. I need to see that movie still.
I have not seen it because I don't like scary movies, and I'm afraid it would be too scary for me. But I liked this, like... So the premise of this trailer of the movie is Sarah Paulson is like... She's like, I'm a therapist, and I deal with people who are delusional and think they're superheroes. And we see these, like... tracking shots of this basically like prison/asylum with all these interestingly designed cells. Like there's a cell with like a bunch of weird like lights, it seems like, and there's a cell with like some sort of like piping shower system. And so to me that says like, oh, I wonder if we're gonna get like a whole ensemble of like interesting weird superheroes that are not based on anything. Like I know we have the Horde, which is the guy from Split, and we have, I don't know what they're calling Bruce Willis, and we have Mr. Glass, but I wonder if we're going to get a ton of I wonder if this is just the beginning. Like, I wonder if we're going to get another episode in this world. Like, is this like a cinematic universe?
Yeah, I was going to say, are they starting a new cinematic universe that has more heroes?
Like, weird, like, really weird, gritty, just weird M. Night Shyamalan heroes, Like, that's interesting to me.
Not necessarily, like, pulled from, like, a DC or Marvel universe, just, like, different heroes. Was this originally based on a comic series?
I don't think so. I think it's all original from his mind.
I mean, if it is, that's cool. I want to say that there was a graphic novel in there somewhere, but I don't know if it came before or after. It's
interesting. I like the character of Glass. Like, he was a cool part of Unbreakable. And I don't know, I'm interested to see. I also love a thing where someone is in, like, a prison or an asylum, and they can break out at any time, but they're just like staying there for some unknown reason. Like Bruce Willis could definitely bust out of there with his super strength, but
yeah. So I was gonna ask you, do you think that in order to get out, Bruce Willis has to work with them, and then once he gets out, he like realizes he needs to stop them because Mr. Glass and the other guy have like teamed up, and they want to cause mayhem?
I don't know. There's a scene in the trailer where Mr. Glass or Samuel Jackson is like, I want to meet the Beast. And the Beast is like the superhuman alter ego, like animal version of Horde.
He's the Hulk.
And, well, yeah, it's very similar to the Hulk. And so, yeah, there's definitely going to be like a team up. I don't know. I am very interested to see. And I'm very interested for the part where Sarah Paulson realizes that these people are actually superheroes. Because I love a reveal where someone finds out they're actually telling the truth. So this looks like something I would watch. I don't know if I want to watch Split, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it's so scary.
That's the thing. Like I would have to watch Split, I feel like, before I see this movie. But I definitely want to see this movie, so maybe I will have to watch Split, like it or not.
What about this Deadly Class? This is our final trailer.
Yeah, so this is another TV series, and this is why I said it was going to be such a conflicting set of opinions for me. But this is essentially what I just said that I don't really care about anymore or don't really have any interest in seeing. It's another one of those coming-of-age things where it's a bunch of teens at like a school, but they have like superpowers or something, or they're like crazy, unique individuals or whatever. But this is, I think, by the Russo brothers, the trailer said. The guys who did the Captain America movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's set in the 80s, which always helps because I love 80s music and all of that. So, but it's just like super stylish. And I don't know, something about the characters and the way they were portrayed in this trailer didn't turn me off the way I was turned off by the Titans TV show.
I don't think they necessarily have powers, but I think it's a school for assassins, basically. So it's being run by Benedict Wong. I think it's like the headmaster. Also, I spotted Henry Rollins is in there as maybe like a professor, which is very cool. And it's this kid who is basically like up to no good, and he's like recruited like Professor X style by Benedict Wong, who's basically like, you are a guy who can definitely kill some people, so like come be in this boarding school. It's not like X-Men, it's like Killman or something. It's like come and become an assassin in this crazy school. So I don't know, this looks it's on Sci-Fi, which is another interesting thing.
Yeah, so it seems like maybe like almost like a dirty sort of grungy version of Kingsman.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Which I like the Kingsman movies, so yeah, I kind of want to watch this. I don't know. I'm a little bit mad at Sci-Fi for ditching The Expanse the way they did. Like, I understand it's a business decision they had to do, but like, hopefully that doesn't happen to the show. Is like, if this ends up being good and they're like, oh, whoops, we did it again, we're gonna have to cancel it just as it's getting good. I don't know, but I would watch this show, I think, whereas I don't really care about the Titans show.
And we'll post the links to all these trailers in the show like description on YouTube if you want to go find this. If you're like listening on a podcast right now, you can just go to our YouTube channel and you'll see all the links.
Well, the links should be in the show notes. Those should get copied over. So even if you're like listening on your phone on one of your podcast app of choice, you should just be able to click in the show notes and they will pop up for you. So,
shall we talk briefly about what we've been playing / watching?
Yes, let's do that.
We're going to do a video on this later this week. I've been playing a ton of Enter the Gungeon Advanced Gungeons and Dragons. I have it on PC, but it's half off on Switch right now. It's like $7 on Switch. So I bought it for Switch, and I've been playing it, and it's great. They added so much stuff. They added a ton of new guns and levels and enemies and new mechanics, and everything about it is great. It plays great on Switch. The Switch version is apparently a lot easier because it's like I mean, it's more difficult to play on controller, to be sure. And so there's some amount of auto aim. So I feel like I'm better at the game when I'm not playing on keyboard and mouse because the game helps you a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of quality of life improvements. It's only $7 right now, right currently, but definitely this is a great little indie and it's very fun. And the progression system is really interesting and fluid, and you like organically find out these interesting things. It's great, is what I say.
I've been wanting something else to play on my Switch, and I thought about getting Hollow Knight. But if this is going to be $7 instead of like 15 or 20 or whatever Hollow Knight is, maybe this is the game to get. Because I do like, it's a twin stick shooter, right?
It is, yeah. So you have to.
I enjoy a twin stick shooter now and then, so this might be up my alley.
It feels great to play with the Pro Controller also. Like, I played this on PC when it came out, and it's good, it's fun. But playing it on a giant TV, especially with the quality of life improvements, they did a thing where when you're not in combat, you can select this option to run way faster, and just makes getting around really easy. They added a bunch more teleports. Like, now there's a teleport in every item room, so you can get back them very quickly. It's so nice to play, and I feel such a good sense of progression. Every time I play, I feel like I'm unlocking a new gun, or like I have encountered a new weird NPC in the Gungeon that I have like let out, and now it's going to be part of my game. It's very fun.
Yeah, we should definitely do a video on it for later this week. So
I've already been collecting footage, so get ready for that.
Excellent. So yeah, keep an eye out for that later on this week. What is this next thing you have in here?
I put this in briefly. I forgot. So this is just something I've been watching. This is maybe not as interesting to you since you let your Crunchyroll subscription go out.
It pains me so much. You have no idea.
There's a new anime this season called Cells at Work that is very funny. It's like it teaches you about the human body sort of, but it takes place in a human body, but everything is like a person. So like it looks like just a giant city, but like one of the characters is just a red blood cell who is this girl, and there's like white blood cells.
Is this like Inside?
Exactly. It's very simple. It's not, but everything is like very literally what it is. So like, there's no emotions or anything. Like, there's not like, oh, I'm happiness or anything. This is just like, I'm a macrophage and this is what I do. And like, I'm a dendrite and I do this. And like, like much like a lot of animes, it's trying to teach you as well as like be entertaining. And it's very funny. Like the platelets are these adorable little kids that are doing things, and like the second episode is about like an abrasion that happens, and just like an entire part of the city just like collapses and a bunch of germs come in, and it's very bloody also. Like the white blood cell, it's constantly like all the white blood cells are equipped with like a big knife, and they just like very violently kill germs and stuff and get all bloody. But it's also got a really good opening song where they're just like singing about cells at work. But it's very, very funny. If you have a Crunchyroll account, definitely check out Cells at Work because I am loving it. It's like, I think it's got 3 episodes right now.
So this is going to be like shown in schools, right? For sure. 100% this is part of biology class going forward.
Listen, I'm definitely learning a lot.
That's why this is definitely going to be shown in biology class.
Are you watching or playing anything?
I mean, more of the same stuff that we talked about last week. Like, I've been playing some Pokemon Go and some Jurassic World Alive, trying to figure out those games. Otherwise, I have been rewatching some Game of Thrones lately. But nothing new, sadly. So I also plan on getting to Far Cry 5, that Mars DLC that we talked about last week.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to get some footage of that, and then we can talk over that, maybe do a little bit of a review for that later this week as well. So yeah,
I'm excited for that.
That's my plan. I just we need to enact that plan. So
I think that about wraps it up for this week.
It does. Follow us on Twitter and Google Plus and Instagram and wherever else. If you're listening to this as an audio podcast, follow or subscribe to us on YouTube. Or if you are watching this on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe, and then check us out. Check out the audio version on your podcast app of choice. And send us an email at starsidecafe@gmail.com with questions, comments, discussion topics, any of that sort of thing. And we'll get to it on the next show.
Cool.
We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.